How do I join myself?
I can hear you.
I send request.
I have not. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've sent request
I'm here.
to be live too.
Oh yeah, let me view the request. All right. There we go. Should be all right.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me close my. Let me close this. There we go.
Cool. But now you'll hear me from two sources, right?
I hear you. Yeah.
I hear an echo. I guess you should tune down the sound on the.
Or turn off the Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I do that here? I don't know. I have to turn off the.
No. The mic on. You could turn off the. You have an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Just tune down the volume, the system volume.
Okay, got it. All right. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much better. I can still hear it, but much better.
It's not letting me go all the way down. I don't know why.
Yeah, me too.
Let me try and fix it. Probably
I know how
Instagram.
No. Well, good enough. Are you trying to turn it off inside Instagram? Okay.
Let me see.
Let's go. So my name is Samat, and I'm really honored to have you live here with us. You're a child hero of mine, and of course, I played all the games you've made.
Thanks.
I have a list of questions, so let me. And I'm not a very good interviewer, so I'll just go from the top.
Okay.
You are world known for the Doom and the Dave, these very, very popular games. But what is
Dangerous
the very
Dave?
first game? What's the very first game you created?
Jeez. Probably an adventure game. When I first started learning how to program in BASIC, it was on a mainframe computer at a university.
Like a real mainframe computer with a teletype access or something like that?
With access through terminals. The computer filled up the next room. I was 11 years old.
Is it like text-based game?
Yeah, text game. Yeah, like Zork or Adventure.
Wait a second. They say there is an echo. How do we turn it off? 1 second. How do we turn it off? You know what? I will turn off the mic access for Instagram. That should help, I guess.
Okay. Then they can't. Oh, your mic access or?
Wait a second. Then people on the Instagram wouldn't hear me.
Right.
That is a problem. Okay.
Let me see. Okay.
Okay.
There. Is that better?
Yeah. So the mainframe game, the game on the mainframe. But wait a second. What's the point in doing that? Was it like randomized so you could play it yourself, or like was it really fun to play the game, the adventure game you created yourself, text-based game? You knew all the answers, right? Or was it still fun to play?
That's like basically saying anyone that makes games has no fun playing their own game. Of course, it was. Of course, it was great. I was learning how to program a game for the first time.
But what was your first published game? Okay, that was for you. Wait a second. Did anyone else play the game you made for that mainframe?
No, it was just me. I didn't know anybody there. They were all college students, university students.
How did you get your hands on this machine?
I basically walked in there with my friend, and he had account access for a friend of his that was going to the university. So we used that student's account to have access to the mainframe. That's how we did it. So, yeah. We shouldn't have been there.
Was it legitimate, or was it like...
No, we weren't supposed to be there, but, you know, I wanted to learn how to program.
Cool. Did anyone kick you out, or did you...
Nope,
just live on
never
your
got
own
kicked
when
out.
You got your own machine?
Well, it took three years before I could get a computer at home. So when I did the programming on the mainframe, it was 1979.
That's great. Wait a second. They're telling me people are waiting for a translation. Oh shit! I'm not sure I could do that. I can either do one or two, but I can do both. Oh shit! John, I'm really sorry. I don't know what to do.
I guess just translate. Translate. I guess, I don't know, Instagram or.
В общем, история такая, что я спросил Джона, какая первая игра, которую он сделал, и он рассказал, что первая игра была текстовой игрой на такая adventure game, то есть текстовая игра на мейнфрейме, который занимал целую комнату соседнюю, а он сидел в соседней комнате с терминалом и играл в нее. Это было в университете, он получил доступ через студенческий пропуск какого-то друга. Его там, конечно, быть не должно было, но вот Джон туда проник и 3 года играл на этом мейнфрейме, делал всякие разные программы. Следующий наш вопрос будет про то, какая первая игра, которую он опубликовал, и его спросим. So, John, what was the first game you actually published, which got out to the world?
It was called Scout Search, and it was published in 1984 in a magazine.
Это была игра «Поиск скаута», и она была в 1984 году опубликована в журнале. Wait a second, in a magazine, how does that work?
Back in the 80s, programs were published in magazines, and people would type in all the programming that was printed in the magazine. And if they typed it all incorrectly, then it would actually work.
То есть она была опубликована в журнале, потому что там писался исходный код, и люди перепечатывали себе, перенабирали прямо код, который был в газете, в журнале, и дальше она запускалась. Wait a second, how many lines of code is that?
Well, usually you try to make your game pretty small, so it's not more than, a couple hundred lines.
Я спросил, сколько там вообще строк кода, потому что обычно программы большие. Он говорит, что пытались обычно сделать их короткими, и вот в этом случае это было там несколько сотен строк кода. I'm kind of looking back for the questions, but I guess I already asked that. Мы уже спросили, какой был первый компьютер, который Джон увидел. Это был, видимо, это mainframe. That was the first computer you actually saw was that mainframe, right?
Yeah.
But the first normal computer, I guess.
Well, it was after the mainframe. Then I would go to computer stores because they had computers in them, and then I would try to use those to program on until they kicked me out. And I did that for, 3 more years until we could finally get computer at the house. So in 3 years, I was going and using different computers depending on which store I went into, but they all had BASIC on them. So I could program on all of them.
But how long, just one second, I'm translating and then asking this in the next question. Я спросил у Джона, какой был первый компьютер нормальный, не mainframe, а нормальный компьютер, с которым он встретился. И Джон сказал, что после этого мейнфрейма он еще 3 года, у него дома не было компьютера, и он ходил в магазины, где стояли компьютеры, и там был Basic, и он на них там прогал. И мне, конечно, дико интересно, а сколько вообще времени он умудрялся работать в магазине перед тем, как его оттуда выгнали. So, John, how long did usually these sessions last? Because in my experience, you're kicked out pretty soon, pretty fast. from their place, or were they accommodating, or how did,
Yeah, some of them were okay. That some of them, when they saw that I was actually programming and learning something, they would let me sit there, because if someone else comes into the store and they see a child using a computer, it helps their sales because it's that easy.
Not easy at all. Он отвечает, что на самом деле множество владельцев магазинов разрешало ему долго сидеть за компьютерами, которые были там в продаже, потому что люди заходили, видели то, что ребенок сидит, прогает, и понимали, что это просто. Я, конечно, хочу добавить, что это совершенно не означает, что это просто. I don't think that the fact that you were, like, the child was programming means that it is easy at all. It just means that children are really persistent.
Yeah.
What was your какая у тебя самая любимая игра? What was your favorite game during your childhood?
Oh, Pac-Man, definitely.
Это Pac-Man, тот, который ездит, кушает всякие штуки. But где он их играл? Was it arcade game, like the real arcade, or was it an emulator?
Oh yeah, no, it was the real arcade game. Yeah.
Were you playing for each game, like with coins?
Yeah, I played games for years and spent thousands of dollars on games at the arcade.
I've never done that at all in my life.
Yeah, back then they were everywhere. Arcades were everywhere. There were games. There's so many games, so many arcades. The world was full of them, and they're gone now. But you can't even imagine back then that there were arcades and video games everywhere you went.
Джон рассказывает, что это были настоящие аркады. То есть вот я спросил, Pac-Man, он был типа у тебя на компьютере или на аркадных? Аркадные машины — это те, которые, автоматы, игры-автоматы, в которые нужно закидывать монету. И Джон отвечает, что тогда это было везде, и что он, конечно, играл на аркаде, на этих автоматах за монетки и потратил $1000 на игры.
There were so many people playing Pac-Man that it caused a coin shortage in Japan and the United States.
Джон говорит, что так много людей играли в Pac-Man, что не хватало монет. То есть людям в обороте кончались монеты для того, чтобы играть в Америке и в Японии. Был такой момент. Hopping like 15 years, I guess. Сейчас мы перепрыгнем на 15 лет вперед и спросим про Doom, про самую известную, наверное, игру, в создании которой Джон участвовал. So Doom. Как встретились три создателя? Это Джон Ромеро, Джон Кармак и Том Холл. So the three Doom creators, you, Carmack, and Hall, how did you all meet?
There were 5 of us making Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
me, John, Tom, and Adrian Carmack, who did art, and Kevin Cloud, who did art. So what about the team?
Всех создателей. How did you meet?
Oh, we met at Softdisk in 1990. It was a company we all worked at.
То есть они просто вместе работали и там, на работе встретились. Were you like coding? Were you programmers at Softdisk?
Yeah. No, well, I think me, John, and Tom were all programming. I had a department that I had just started for just making games, and I needed another programmer, so I hired John Carmack to come into my new department.
Он руководил департаментом, типа отделом в компании, которая программировала игры, и он туда взял на работу Кармака.
And then Tom Hall came into the department at night to help out. And I brought Adrian Carmack from the art room next door to be in my office permanently to just do art for us all day long. Mm-hmm. So I got us 3 in one room, and then Tom coming in at nighttime. And it quickly went from we're making cool games to we're making games for ourselves for id Software.
So you started by just doing cool games, and then wait a second, you were working for the other company, and then
we were working at the company, and then at nighttime we would start making our own games at the company.
But when did you sleep?
Well, we went to sleep from 2 a.m. and we were back at work at 10 a.m. So we would work from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then we would change directories to our new game that we're making, and then we'd work until 2 a.m. So that was another 8 hours. So 16-hour days.
I can appreciate that. That is, but what was the why were you doing that? I mean, that's a lot of time. That was like essentially the life you were giving all your life to this thing. Was it just the fun of making it, or were you seeing the end game and the goal of publishing it later?
Oh, well, it was the reason why is because John Carmack figured out how to make a PC scroll smoothly like a Nintendo, and it was world-changing technology, and nobody had it except for us. So it's like having this massive secret that no one else has, and when you reveal it, it's going to change everything. So we were unbelievably excited to make our own games using this technique and then release it to the world as id Software.
So you essentially knew that you were sitting on a bag of gold, so to speak, but not in the monetary sense, but in a sense of doing something extraordinary.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and that was it took us a little less than 3 months to make 3 games that would use this technique, and then we published it. Yeah, it was Commander Keen, the first trilogy of Commander Keen.
I should confess, I'm replaying it on a DOSBox daily.
If you use a Mac, you can download Commander Genius, and it's a very nice Mac version of all the Commander Keen games natively running on the Mac. But inside of it, it has the original DOS game, and it's taking all of the outputs and making it look like it should on a Mac. So it's it's running a DOS box internally, and then everything that you see is coming through metal and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It fascinates me how much effort do people put into games still, like the amount of, I guess, if the same amount of effort and attention to detail was put into the usual software, we'll be living in a very different world today. Because no one cares if you're doing just website as I do, or like usual software. You don't care. If it works, and you don't bother too much. I know that you were involved with the Super Mario 3 demo. Could you tell us what's that?
Well, when we figured out that trick, that technological trick, the first thing the demo was used for was to create the first level of Super Mario 3, but not using the actual Mario characters. It was just the world moving and one of my characters, Dangerous Dave, jumping around in Mario's world. And that was just the initial demo that I saw. And it's called Dangerous Dave in Copyright Infringement. And it was amazing to see that. And our immediate reaction was, we need to make the actual first 2 levels of Super Mario 3 with all the monsters and Mario and everything, and then send it to Nintendo. And so that's why we made that demo. So we could see if Nintendo was interested in publishing our PC version of Super Mario 3.
I guess they weren't, right?
They thought it was a really great version, but they decided that they will not take their property and put it on a device that is not owned by them. Yeah.
Totally could see it.
Yeah. So that's why we made Commander Keen.
It's much better gaming. I like it much more. So it's good that they did not agree. The question I see before these questions, just to be honest with the viewers, there were some questions already prepared. I'm not very well aware. I'm not really good. I haven't read them before. But here I see that it says a lot of like in creating Doom, there was a lot of lots of leaps of faith. But that is it like really true? Because you already had the technology which no one had, or was it before? That was for the first games you created.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
So we made Wolfenstein in 1992, and that was our third shooter that we'd made. Mm-hmm. We had two before that was helping us establish the technology and like what do you even do in first person. Mm-hmm. And by the time we made Wolfenstein, using guns was mm-hmm. what made the game feel really good. Mm-hmm. And when we made Spear of Destiny right after that, which is a prequel to Wolfenstein, we did that pretty quickly. It only took us 2 months to make Spear of Destiny. And then we started planning Doom, and the Doom's technology needed to be basically completely remade from scratch because we couldn't use anything from Wolfenstein since it was going to be a completely different engine. So we knew before starting work on the programming of Doom what we would be able to achieve in the game. So we were really excited about what we knew we could make in the game. And we didn't think that we were taking leaps of faith because we knew the problems that we needed to solve, and we knew that we're going to give ourselves as much time as it took to solve them. So Wolfenstein originally took from the idea to uploading the shareware, it was 4 months, and that was with 4 of us. Uh-huh. And we hired 2 more people after Wolfenstein. So we were up to 6 people. One of them was a business guy, so he didn't work on development, so it was 5 of us. So when we were working on Doom with 5 people, we knew that we would be able to do this game. There was nothing that we didn't think we would be able to do in what we kind of imagined the game to be. So we just started working on it, and as we were developing it, we started running into some problems with speed or just creative issues with, like, before Doom, every game that was in a maze had 90-degree walls. This is back to the very first game that you've seen on mainframes in the 70s. There weren't any games that didn't have a maze that wasn't 90-degree hallways.
Is that because it's hard to draw a line which is not like straight, or what?
Well, yeah, technologically, you need more CPU power to handle lines with any kind of endpoint that's not fixed along a specific edge. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of optimizations that you can make when you have walls that are just going straight and they turn, and to have walls at any arbitrary point meeting at any point. There was a lot that you would have to solve to make areas that would be convex and, weirdly shaped with lots of line segments that have curves and all that. John Carmack said that he could totally do it. He wasn't worried about being able to do it. So we envisioned a game that no one else had ever seen, because Doom was the first game that had walls that weren't 90-degree hallways. Even Wolfenstein was a fast version of, even Wolfenstein, you can actually move around smoothly, but the world itself was still 90 degrees. So there were very few games other than Wolfenstein that let you move smoothly like you could in Wolfenstein. Mostly you would move block by block through games in 90-degree mazes. So we kind of changed everything by letting you move very freely, 360 degrees, but the world itself was still limited. And with Doom, we basically unlimited the world. We took those limits off, and in the way that we had to create Doom's levels had not been seen before, which is another reason why it was so exciting to people. They'd never seen a world that didn't have 90-degree, mazes.
That's a very big step in technology. So, and it took a lot of investment. You are telling that you told us that it took several months. Was there ever pressure to deliver on time? Was there any we're running out of money and we should publish it in next week, or we're out of business or something like that. So was it more like a diamond created from the pressure, or more like we had the opportunity to do our bests and we had all the time in the world?
Yeah, we basically had all the time that we wanted. From when we first released Commander Keen in December of 1990, we didn't have any issue with money. So we went from, our first check was 10,500, and that was the first month that we made money on Commander Keen. And by 1 year later, we were making 50,000 a month, and we still had just 4 of us. So we obviously we didn't spend it all. We just kept on putting the money in the company. But the company the bank account just kept on building, so it let us have lots of time to make games, so we never had to rush our games. So with Doom, we went from 4 months to develop Wolfenstein to Doom, which we spent an entire year developing. And with Wolfenstein, when Wolfenstein was released, the money was multiplied by at least 5 times minimum. So
John, how did you start? Like, usual problem which I hear from people which do not have a pressure, outside pressure, is a feature creep. You keep adding features and you keep pushing the release date because you want to add more and more and more. How did you stop?
Well, we knew what we were trying to make. Let's say with Wolfenstein, we did add more to the game. And then after playing it, we quickly took out the extra features that we put in the game because it interrupted the core of the game. And the core was a fast-moving game where you just blast everything. If you have to stop in a hallway to search a dead body, you're stopping the essence of the game, So the game was kind of, with the speed of it, that became the core. And the core was shoot everything, get keys, open doors, keep shooting everything, gather up everything that you see, but never stop the player from moving unless they get to a door and they have to open it. That was about it. The only time you stop is when you hit a door. So the more things that we put in the game that would slow down the player, we realized that the game's not about that. It's not about being stealthy. It's not about picking people's pockets or any of that, or dragging dead bodies around. We removed all those things because that's not what the game is. The game is not about managing dead bodies and dealing with that stuff. It's about blazing as fast as you can through this castle at 70 frames a second and basically being super violent. And we removed everything from the game that violated that. And Doom had the same thing, where while making Doom, we had a bunch of extra stuff in Doom that we removed. Like in Wolfenstein, we picked up a lot of items that gave you a score. And then while playing Doom, it was like, this isn't an arcade game. There shouldn't be a score. We don't care about score. We care about what your job is just getting to, killing all the demons and getting out of the level so you can go to the next installation and blow away all the demons there and save any humans that are left. It's not about trying to get a high score. Doom is not about high scores. On top of that, Doom is not about penalizing you for dying. So it's not like you had 3 lives. You have as many lives as you want. If you die, you go back to the beginning. You have to start the level over or go to your save game. But let's say you start the level over and try it again. But you don't go back levels, and you don't have a number of lives like an arcade game. So we removed lives and we removed score. It removed all of the items that would have given you score. So
but there wasn't a blueprint. It was all in all on a rolling basis. So you add something and then you realize it's not working, then you remove
and then we take it out. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and we had that stuff in there for a long time until we finally decided, the essence of the game is not that stuff. Get rid of that stuff. It just confuses. If you have score in there and the player's like, oh, score, then they think that score is important. But we weren't going to do anything with score because the point is that this is a demonic invasion. It's not about gathering up evil, unholy Bibles and getting scores from them. So we removed all of that stuff that wasn't the essence of the game.
Were you test driving it on someone, or was it just you?
It was just us. Yeah. We didn't have a QA department. We did our own debugging and fixing for all those years.
More like user feedback.
No, not really. We made the game that we wanted to play.
Wow. So you're just not showing it to anyone except before you publish.
We did have some testers that were external, since we didn't have anyone internal to test the game. Mm-hmm. We sent it to some people. We had about 3 people externally that we would send our games to that have been with us for years. And then they would tell us the problems that they found, if anything. And
but it's not ideological feedback. It's just like problems I found, like bugs and glitches.
Well, anything that they could think of, any ideas that they had. But usually, if they did find something, we already knew about it and fixed it. So, it was good if they found a bug that we didn't find, but that's really rare because we play the game constantly, thousands of times. So we're going to see everything.
Is it true that you scanned the snakeskin boots and like scraped knees to deliver to create textures for games?
Yep.
What was that game?
Yeah. We a lot of the stuff in Doom is scanned in, like the guns and the Doom guy and the Cyber Demon and the Baron of Hell. Like those things were all scanned in from 3D models that we created, and we put them on
3D models.
Yeah,
and then you scan them in like 90s. What's that?
Yeah, 90s VHS camera. So we had a camera hooked up to a computer, and it was pointing at a table that we could put a monster on. Mm-hmm. And then we take a picture of it, and we keep rotating it for all the turns that the monster is going to be, looking at the back of the monster and all that. So we take 8 rotations and take screenshots of each one of those things. And then when it comes to the computer, we clean up all the pixels that's the room, behind it. We clean all that up, and then we basically color all the pixels that are there. It looks like the monster, but it just doesn't look colorful enough. And then the artist basically click on, and the thing is, when we're doing that, we do a rotation, and then when it's going to walk, the monster's going to walk. So we have to do the rotation to get all the views. If the player's behind a monster, you got to see him from behind or from the side or whatever, because it wasn't like it was a 3D model. It was a sprite. It was a 2D sprite. So when the monster walks, then we have to move its leg and then rotate it again 8 times and take pictures for every animation frame, 8 different views of that animation frame. So it was a ton of work that those artists were doing for all the monsters, having every frame of animation scanned in, editing. It was so much work. And it was just 2 artists. And one of the artists was doing the characters mainly, and the other one was doing textures for the game.
Was it like internal? So all these guys were sitting in...
There's only 2. There were only 2 people. Only 2 artists. One did the monsters, one did the textures.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it true that after you released Doom 1, people were really leaving jobs, like stop leaving universities and schools and colleges and all that, and spend days playing? Is it like true?
Oh yeah, it was huge.
Did you feel guilty about that?
No, I mean we expected Doom to be the biggest loss of productivity in the world, and we said that in a press release.
Did you play yourself after the release?
Oh yeah, we played it all the time.
But you already played it like hundreds of hours during these building it.
Yeah, but multiplayer deathmatch was where it was super fun. So we deathmatched all the time.
Yeah, that's like endlessly.
Yeah, it's endless. Yeah.
Did you sit in the same room, or did you have some kind of long range network?
Yeah, we had our own network in the company. It went to everybody's office, and everybody could basically play. It was a wired network, so it went super, super fast. And if I'm going to play with Sean, like Sean's say in the room next to me on the other side of a wall, and then he'll just get in, we'll connect, and then Yeah, we'll just call each other on the phone. Like, okay, I'm getting in there. All right, I'm in. Okay, we're connected. Hang up, and then start playing.
On like a wired phone, right?
Yeah, a wired phone. Yep.
Who was the best in game? Were they like champions inside your company?
That was me. Yeah, we didn't have that many people. Our company was really small, and out of the people that played, that was basically me, an American, and Sean. Yeah, nobody else other than us three really played the game a lot. Like, they played it just to see that their textures were working correctly, and the game design's working, but not deathmatch wise. It was just three of us that played, because the company was. There was five of us, 5, 6 with Sean, 7, 8 with the secretary, 9 with American. There's 9 of us total in the whole company, which included the secretary and the CEO.
Tell me about the deathmatch, because on your Wikipedia page it says that you are the father of this word. How did it came to be?
Well, as soon as we got multiplayer working, like the second that multiplayer was working, where you could actually see another character on the screen and you could shoot them from another character, it was like, that's obviously what we're going to be doing. It's not like we're just going to shoot monsters. It's like, I'm going to kill the other guy with rockets, and that's going to be the really fun part. Mm-hmm. So I was like, what is it? It's like a cage match. Like, you're locked in a level, but that doesn't sound as cool. Like, it's a fight to the death. It's a match that's a fight to the death. It's a death match, So I was like, that's the word. Death match is a great word. Just one word. Bam.
So it's 10th of December, 93. The game is just released. What's your feeling? What are you feeling? What's your
we were just so tired. We had been working for 30 hours, so from the previous day, and it was 2 p.m. in the afternoon when we uploaded it. So it was, we were just ready to, and some people were already asleep on the floor. I mean, they couldn't even stay awake anymore. Jay, who was our CEO, he didn't have to stay up all night because he's not programming, so he was fine. He was ready to handle getting the game uploaded. So it was uploaded at 2 p.m. to the University of Wisconsin's FTP site and to the Software Creation BBS in Massachusetts. So people that were on BBSs and modems could get it from there, and people who were on the internet could get it from the University of Wisconsin at Madison. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as the game went up, we just all went home to go to sleep until the next day, because we were just unbelievably tired. And we knew that everyone was going to love it. So, we weren't worried about that. We just knew that we had to get some sleep. And we'd also seen the game so much that we were just like, didn't even want to look at the game again for a while, because we'd been in the game every hour for months,
John, could you, the thing which is not clicking in my head is that you had all the time in the world, you had enough money, but you didn't have a deadline, but still you were programming on the nights and then sleeping after the release. Why is that? Why don't you?
Because we were almost finished. We were almost done with the game. And when you get to the end of a project like that, everybody is spending as much time as they possibly can to wrap it up and get it finished. We didn't have a release date, but we knew that date was happening really soon. So we just wanted to do as much as we could, because every day that we beat Christmas, we are basically able to make more money before Christmas, because people can buy Doom for somebody for Christmas. So the more days before that, the better it is. Not that we needed to ship before Christmas, but it was definitely helpful to ship, when people are buying presents for everybody.
Okay. So the financial matters weren't like totally lost on you.
Oh yeah. But I mean, we released Quake in June of the year. So,
this is the main factor still.
We released Quake when it was finished, and it was in summer, and that's like the worst time to ever try and sell a game, but that's when we finished. We're not going to hold it.
Cool. One of the reasons why Doom was so popular, it's written here that one of the reasons that Doom was so popular is that it was possible to create mods. I personally didn't play much of the mods on Doom, but still, wasn't it scary? Wasn't it like, didn't you feel threatened that people would do some crazy stuff?
No, that's exactly what we wanted them to do. We wanted them to do some crazy stuff. I mean, we were, that's what we wanted. We wanted people to do anything that they could think of with Doom. We made the game, we made what the game is, but we knew that the ability that we put into the game to allow it to be modified easily would get people being creative with it and doing all kinds of cool stuff that might give us some ideas, And plus, people are just having fun. If they can create more, they're playing a game where it's not just the stuff that we deliver to them. They're playing a game where there's a whole world full of content that doesn't stop. And even today, 27 years later, I guess, 27, 28, 27 years later, the game there's still levels are released constantly every single day. It's still a really huge community.
It's great. I should check it. Definitely should check it out.
Go to doomworld.com. Doomworld.com.
We'll put it in the description later.
Okay.
John, actually, we had this for this interview. We asked to collaborate with one of the most popular gaming websites in Russian internet. It's called Kanobu, and they prepare it. Also, they also voted for the questions. So I definitely should ask them. Right. Otherwise, we'll be pissed off. So the first question is, do you really like Doom 2020 and Doom 2016?
Yeah. I played them. They were great. Really, really good. I'm happy that they interpreted Doom for today, because you can't really replicate the original. And what they did was exactly what they needed to do for today's audience.
Where are the streams, John? Ask Russian people. So your gunman Taka truck was really great, they say.
Yeah.
Are you planning to continue streaming?
At some point, but I have so much stuff that I do that streaming is rare. And I like streaming. It's just like I'm doing so much stuff that streaming is a rare thing. Like the last time I streamed, I was playing Doom Eternal, and that's pretty much it. I'm making games or making stuff constantly, and playing them. Sometimes I don't feel like streaming all the time when I'm playing the game, because I have to like
personal experience.
Well, a lot of times I'm talking with a friend of mine, over headset, and we're playing.
So and playing together.
Yeah. So I co-op with people, and that's what I'm focusing on. I'm not focusing on entertainment. I have to entertain an audience. That's a job. If people didn't care what they were seeing, if I'm just playing the game and not having to pay attention to an audience, then sure,
I guess it will be still very interesting to see what you do. Like, did you ever try just like doing the stuff and see how it goes? Because I guess
didn't.
People will be. It would be still pretty much entertaining to see.
It probably would be. I ought to try it sometime.
Do you have any plans for the unofficial add-ons for Doom 2 or maybe Sigil? Was the Sigil the last experiment of the kind, or would be any more?
Yeah. Sigil was the Doom's 25th anniversary episode that I made. So it was episode 5 of Doom, and it was pretty cool that id Software liked it enough that they included it officially with Doom. So if you get any Doom on Switch or iPhones or consoles, PS4 or whatever, you'll have Sigil there as well. And that just adds another episode, especially for Doom 1, because most people, when they make levels and episodes or series of levels, they make it for Doom 2 because there's so much more stuff in Doom 2. But because I was making an episode 1 episode for the anniversary, Sigil's one of the rare episode 1 episode, I guess, episodes for the original Doom.
Any plans for additional add-ons?
Yeah. I can't say what I'm doing, but I'm planning on doing something.
Looking forward to it. Are you playing? You told us that you are playing, but not really streaming, playing with friends. Is it like games not developed by you? Could you just tell us what are you playing?
Mostly Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and sometimes Wildlands. But Breakpoint is just, I love it. It's an amazing game. It's really, really fun.
How much hours do you play usually a week?
Let's see. I play maybe once a week for 6 hours, something like that.
Like a session at the night.
Yeah, one session with a friend. Yeah. We would start
at the evening.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, maybe 9 p.m. and end around 3 or later.
Do you have a hangover later?
Sometimes later, yeah.
Like, do you have a hangover in the morning after?
No. No problem.
Will there be any Daikatana? Am I pronouncing it right? Daikatana remaster. What is the current release far from what you were playing in the beginning?
Well, I'm not planning on doing the Daikatana remaster. Just I know that people have asked that for a while, and the problem is that the game got pretty much destroyed like on release back in the year 2000. So it was 20 years ago. People just so many articles were written about how bad it was, and it did have a bunch of issues. So just because the game doesn't have a really great reputation, there's no reason for me to spend time trying to remaster it. It would be better if it was remastered, but I mean, it was an idea I had 23 years ago, and I have lots of new ideas, so I don't really feel like spending my time on an old thing like that was not well received. I'd rather spend my time on something new that no one's ever seen, or spend my time on a game like Doom where people, really like new stuff for it.
John, this is off script, but may I ask you, how important is it that for you that the game is well received or not very well received? How much of the joy is in making for yourself, and how much is in the fact that people really like it?
It kind of works out perfectly if you're making it for yourself and people love it. Like, that's exactly what you want to have happen. Usually does happen. If you put a lot of time and effort into a game that you really like, usually people will like it. I don't usually like things that are so weird that people don't like it. So usually I think that the stuff that I like, other people would like. Like when I was making the levels for Sigil, I really like those levels, and I spent a lot of time making them. And when I released them, a lot of people liked it. So that was like, okay, that's cool. I'm glad everybody liked it. If they didn't, then it's like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't make any more levels.
Have you ever started a project and knowing that people wouldn't like it, but you just wanted to do it anyways?
Oh, I don't really think about whether somebody's going to like it when I make it. It's like normally, sometime later in development, you start thinking about things that, oh yeah, we're missing this feature. People will probably expect this feature. And then like you start thinking about adding that, but not at the very beginning. At the beginning, it's like, this would be really cool. This design is really cool. Let's make this thing. And, that already had a lot of thought at the very beginning anyway. Like coming up with that idea of that design was a lot of thought that, of course, people would like all these things. That's not something I need to always say. It's just that I know I like it, and I like it because other people like it too. So if I put this stuff together, then I think it would be a really cool game. And then later on, as you start getting details created in the game, then you start making sure you're not missing any details as well.
So let me finish this with the questions from Kanobu, and then I have one more personal question. So I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Just grab a sip of water and just a second.
Okay.
It's a complicated question. Oh my God. So it's saying that soon the Cypherpunk 2077 will be released. And it shows the model of the future of the humanity. What do you, as a John Romero, think that what would the future of the game industry be in like 30 to 50 years? So, yeah, it's a loaded question.
Oh, geez. Well, I think that, something's going to have to happen with consoles because phones are getting so powerful that at some point they're going to be your console. I think that the idea of Switch, where you have this handheld thing that can project onto a big screen, is kind of where you're going to take gaming. If you feel like sitting in front of a really big screen with your phone as your input device, or maybe something around your phone that helps you press buttons better, like there's several of those. Then let me see. Okay. Then then I think that there's someone's Sony and Microsoft are gonna have to do something with that, because the phones are becoming so powerful. Either they make a phone that everybody wants to have, and that becomes a console.
There is no more Sony or Microsoft, and just
or
Google doing games.
They'll have to solve the problem. They'll have to solve the problem of wow, phones are so powerful now, and they can beam wirelessly to a big screen TV. So what do we do when everybody's on mobile? So mobile is a different market segment. So the new hardware does allow people to play really cool stuff that you wouldn't play on a phone just because the screen is so small. And mobile, even though they're really powerful, the screen is small. It's just a different mode that you're in. I think when you're sitting on the couch and you want to have a controller and see something really big on a screen in 4K or whatever, that's different than sitting on your phone playing something that's probably more casual.
John, do you play Apple Arcade games?
Some, yeah, I subscribe to it, so I play.
What's the best? What should we try?
There's one out that I haven't played yet. Grindstone, I think it's called. Yeah, I think I haven't played it yet, but I know it's a really good game. So that's one I would say to check out.
Cool, thank you. And second short question: do you own Switch? And
oh yeah, I love Switch.
What's your game on that?
Well, I played tons of Zelda. Breath of the Wild was just, I loved it. What was it after that? Oh, playing Animal Crossing on it. New Horizon. Yeah, so I'm playing New Horizons right now. But I don't have that much time for games, so I don't have that much time in it.
What's the project you are working now? I think we're running out of time, so maybe
Okay, yeah, Empire of Sin. Empire of Sin is the game that I'm working on right now. We've been working on it for over 3 years. It'll be coming out this year and, this fall. And basically go to empireofsin.com and check out the videos, and you'll see this is a 1920s strategy game about mobsters.
Are you still working at nights and then like?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, totally.
Should we expect a shooter? That is one of the last and most voted questions for you.
I hope so. I hope so.
Sounds very promising.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, John, for joining, and it was an honor.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, take it
very
easy.
Fun.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Я хочу извиниться перед аудиторией, простите, пожалуйста, что так. Это был полный экспромт. Надеюсь, было не слишком скучно. Мне, во всяком случае, было очень интересно.